Hello, I'm Dr. Richard Schulze, and I'm so happy to be here to do this video, How to Make Herbal Preparations. You know, over the years we've had thousands of people request and ask, how can I make a tincture? How can I make an ointment? You know, some people don't even know how to make an herbal tea. Making herbal preparations is one of the most closely guarded herbal secrets there is. Families have locked this knowledge down for generations, and I'm here today to break that secret barrier and tell you how simple and easy it is to put these preparations together and make them in your own kitchen with simple utensils that you already have. You know, unfortunately, many herbalists don't want you to know this. Many herbalists feel that if you knew how to do this, you wouldn't need them anymore. This is silly. Aren't there enough sick people to go around? Everybody needs to know how to do this. You know, the herbal manufacturers definitely don't want you to know how to make your own preparations. It would ruin their business. But suppose the UPS truck breaks down. Suppose there's a postal strike. Suppose the health food store in your town closes down. Where are you going to get your herbal products? Suppose there's a great disaster. You know, just a little over a year ago in Los Angeles, in Santa Monica, where I have my home and clinic, we had a gigantic earthquake. We woke up at 4 in the morning. Do you know, over 400 homes in my little neighborhood were destroyed, leveled. Every herbal preparation I had was broken, smashed, and on the ground. And if I didn't know how to find the herbs and make these preparations, I couldn't help the people that were knocking on my door within hours. But there's another reason I want you to know this. Know how to make it for yourself. The products that are available out there, most of them are horrible, useless junk that won't get you well at all, won't make any cures. Do you know, many people say, I've used herbs, they don't work. It's not the herb's fault. It's just the preparations that you've had that are available to you. Again, the vast majority of what you can find in a store is useless trash, and I'm going to show it to you in just a minute and show you how to tell the difference. Even the few products out there that are any good are just poor, and the very one or two that may be good, you're probably not even going to be able to find. I like to use the analogy of food. You know, many herbal products out there are like TV dinners, very processed, overdone, burnt, overcooked, void of the chemicals that need to be there for our health. They're just no good. Making your own herbal products is like grandma's home cooking. It's like what you would make in your kitchen if you spent all day putting something together. Of course it's going to be better. So get ready to learn the secrets of how to make your own herbal preparations. I'd like to tell you a little bit about homeopathy. Homeopathy is actually a system of medicine. It was designed by a medical doctor well over 100 years ago. Homeopathy is really not herbology. They use some herbs, but in a spiritual or energetic way. The doctor that designed it believed that the spirit of the herbs would go into a preparation, or the energy of the herbs, if they were extremely diluted, thousands of times. In fact, this man used to suffocate live birds into the preparations because he believed the spirit of the bird would go in. They also use incredibly disgusting, in fact, some of the most disgusting things I've ever heard of. Very similar to what medicine uses in pharmaceutical preparations. Homeopaths will use crushed live insects, and they'll also use pus from tumors and macerated tubercular lung and fecal matter and toxic minerals, lead, radiation. Only about half of their preparations are actually herbs, and then the herbs are so diluted, there's really no herb in there. There's just the energy of it. I have a tincture here, a homeopathic tincture of St. John's wort. Now, unfortunately, I have to hide the labels on most of these things, but I'll tell you about it. A homeopathic tincture of St. John's wort, as far as you're concerned, doesn't have any St. John's wort in it. St. John's wort is a gorgeous yellow flower, and when crushed turns blood red. Take a look at this. Does that look blood red to you? That's water. It has no taste at all. This has been diluted 30 times. And I don't mean 1 part St. John's wort and 30 parts water. I mean 1 part St. John's wort and 100 parts water, and then that diluted another time 100 parts and another time, and that done 30 times. With the most sophisticated equipment today, you can't detect anything in this preparation except a little water and some alcohol. And that's what you get if you buy a homeopathic tincture of herbs. Now just take a look at what real St. John's wort tincture looks like. Blood red. In fact, if I were to just dump this water down the sink, take a look at that. It looks like blood. That's the way St. John's wort flowers look when you crush them, and that's the way your tincture should look when you make it. If you buy an herbal tincture that looks and tastes like water, I suggest it is. Here's another one. Toxic Cleanse. And it says on the side that it contains barberry, that it contains golden seal, that it contains senna. These are some of the most bitter herbs on the planet. Also, these herbs have a very distinct color to them. They're very bitter. What do we have? Water. Water again. In fact, I'm going to rinse this bowl so you can see how clear this really is. Toxic Cleanse. There we have our bitter golden seal, our bitter barberry, our senna. I can drink the whole bottle. It's water. There's no bitterness to it at all. Remember, this is just the energy of the herbs. There's really no herbs that you can detect in there. Here's another one. Valerian. It says it has valerian in it, and many other bitter sedative herbs. Also some golden seal. This should be very dark and golden. What do we have again? Oh gosh, more water. That's all that's in here. Again, you can taste it. Alcohol. A lot of alcohol, water. Oh, no valerian. No herbs that I can detect. So the first thing I want you to know is, if you want herbal preparations, don't buy homeopathic preparations. Now, I'm not saying that homeopathy doesn't work, but it's not what you think it is. It's the spirit, it's the energy of the herbs. It's very diluted. Here's another one. This one says oak on it. And I'm sorry, if you're using this for bleeding gums, if you're using this for varicose veins or ulcerative colitis, it's not going to work for you at all. Again, what do we have in here? Water. Okay, this is the energy of an oak flower. Now again, I'm not telling you that this stuff doesn't work. Pharmaceutical drugs work. I'm just saying that this isn't what you think it is, and it's not going to do what you want. What we're talking about on this video is herbs, not homeopathy. So I suggest if you want herbs, you pour this water down the drain where it belongs. You know, Dr. Christopher always said, live under your own fig tree. What he meant was to use and eat the foods that grow in your area and use the herbs that grow in your area. I'd like to tell you a little bit about Chinese herbology, which should probably be called Chinese mineral, vegetable, animal gut, traditional healing. Again, why do we constantly want to bring herbs from such faraway places? It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. When the earth was created, were all the great herbs 10,000 miles away from us? Do you know that you have everything you need right in your own backyard? But there's other problems with Chinese medicine. You know, they're responsible for making many species of animal on this planet extinct. A lot of people are, but I think we need to stop that. Do Do you know you can hardly find a tiger anymore because tiger bone was one of the most used ingredients, herbal ingredients, in Chinese preparations. And now they use rhinoceros horn. You know, rhinoceroses have been killed all over the world where they naturally exist for their horns. In fact, in Kenya, the government has cut the horns off all the rhinoceroses just so they won't be killed. And still, for the Chinese herbal trade, helicopter gunships shoot these rhinoceroses down just to cut the stump out of their head. In fact, I have a picture here and a newspaper article all about this. And there's things in the newspapers all the time about the destruction of animals for our herbal usage. We don't need to do this anymore. We just don't need to do it. In fact, I have a book here on Chinese herbal preparations. And listen to a few of the statements they make. It says here that this tonic contains over 40 herbs, 3 of which are male animal sexual organs. Excuse me, but animal sexual organs are not herbs. And throughout this book, it talks about pearls and all sorts of things as being herbs. In fact, in this book, I found gecko, which is that little lizard that crawls around. I found cordyceps, which is fungus off the head of caterpillars. There are many times they use deer antlers. In fact, if you walk in a Chinese herbal store, it smells like rotten flesh and bacteria. There's shark fins, there's dried fish, there's all sorts of toxic, bacteria-laden garbage there. In fact, they even have placenta in here. My God, where did they get that from? And tortoiseshell. And last I knew, on my last trip to the rainforest in Costa Rica, tortoises are an endangered species. You know, the American Indians had a pharmacopoeia for their health, and 80% of it was also squirrel glands and animal guts. And the Chinese system of medicine is over 6,000 years old, but this is 1995. We don't need to use animal guts anymore. We have gorgeous fruits, vegetables, seeds, grains, nuts, sprouts, and herbs we can use for our healing. So please, check if you're using a Chinese preparation. It probably has these substances in it. And again, this is very old traditional medicine, not the herbology that we're talking about. I've purchased some herbal products from the health food store. Let's take a look at them and see what we think. We're going to look at some and taste some, and I'm going to show you how to tell the difference between good and bad products. I've bought some different aloe veras. Aloe vera is a terrific healing herb, one of the greatest. It contains a gel inside the leaves, and that gel contains allantoin, a chemical that will speed up the way that your cells repair 5 to 10 times faster than normal. But is the aloe vera you're buying really any good? Here's an aloe vera product that I picked up at the pharmacy. It says on it, 100% pure aloe vera. Yuck! That looks like some type of stupid hair setting gel, not aloe vera. This is horrible. What you'll find out is it does contain aloe vera, but only 4 or 5%. But that 4 or 5% is 100% pure. Where does this belong? In the herbal dump. Get rid of this stuff. Here's another one. 96% pure aloe vera with comfrey. Yuck! Here we go again. That isn't what aloe vera gel looks like. This is horrible. Again, herbal dump. Now here's some quality aloe vera gel that I bought. Aloe vera gel should be almost transparent. It should look just like this. You can see this is a great aloe vera gel. Now, the best way to get aloe vera? Get a cactus. You can buy aloe vera cactuses at your nursery. Anybody can grow them. If you live in a cold climate, keep it in your house, in a window where it's going to get some sun. And all you do is cut off a leaf, take off the skin, and put that gel that's on the inside of the aloe, put it on your wound, wrap a little gauze around that. This is good for burns, cuts, dry skin, anything. It's one of the greatest healers. But don't buy the hair setting gels. Whatever this stuff is, it's garbage. It's not going to work. It's horrible. Let's take a look at a few other products here. Dump that out. Recently I purchased some hawthorn berry syrup, and I was quite surprised when I opened it and took a look at it. Hawthorn berries are an orange to a bright red, and they're one of the greatest healers for the heart. You know, there's chemicals in hawthorn berries that actually bind to your heart cells and will help you prevent having a heart attack. And if you do have a heart problem, it'll make you recover faster. It's one of the greatest healing herbs. But I'm afraid you're not going to get that healing out of what's in this bottle. Aha! We have a seal here. The write-up on this formula says it's great. But take a look at it again. That's not the right color. In fact, I tasted this formula. It tastes like a bottle of honey. That's all I can taste is pure honey. Now here's a bottle of hawthorn berry tonic that I make, and look at the difference in the color. That's bright red. And you can even see a berry stuck in the top. Look at the difference when I put this on this plate, and you tell me which one you think looks like hawthorn berries and which one looks like a bottle of honey. Now I thought that this must be a mistake, that someone just forgot to put the hawthorn berries in. So I called from Sam Beiser's house here to the manufacturers yesterday, and I said to them, I don't think this is hawthorn berry tonic. And they said, would you please wait on the line, sir? I called customer service. They came back to me in a few minutes, and they said, we talked to our herbalist on staff, sure. And they said that he said that they don't use any colorings in their formula like other companies do. And when you cook hawthorn berries long enough, they turn clear or almost a translucent color. Now, I don't know what they're talking about. Do they cook these for 20 years? I talked to Sam about this, and Sam said to me, that's ridiculous. It's like if you make strawberry jam, do you lose the color of the strawberries? This is ridiculous. They're not putting enough herb in this formula. It's junk. That's why we throw it away. Buy your own hawthorn berries or gather them if they grow where you live. You can make your own syrup easily. The directions are in the manual. When I was in the south of France teaching last year, there was a wonderful juniper shrub right near the school. So I picked some berries and we made a tincture. In fact, this tincture isn't even squeezed off yet. Hillary, Sandy, come on in. We're going to have some live taste testing here to see what this tastes like. Now again, this isn't even squeezed off, so it's lighter in color than normal. But we're going to taste this. It generally, to me, tastes like juniper, which is like, has a bit of a piney taste to it. It does have a piney taste. Yeah.
It tastes like pine tree.
Yeah, exactly. It tastes a little like nice. Pine, menthol. Now here's a juniper that I bought. This one, oh gosh, it's a great label. It's a special herbal extract. I'm sorry I have to hide these a bit, but I can't expose these people. No animal testing, no animal ingredients. I appreciate seeing that. Non-irradiated. There's only one problem. I don't think there's any juniper in here. It's a good label. It's very dark in color, and it has a very distinct taste. Personally, I don't find it to taste like juniper.
Big difference.
Yes.
Yeah, it tastes too sweet.
Yeah, sweet, and I think it's
burnt.
Yeah,
it is burnt taste.
Yeah, it tastes like old burnt rags or even ashtray. It tastes like you're drinking an ashtray. An ashtray in a bottle, they could call this. Personally, I've tested over 150 bottles of this from this company, and every product they have tastes like a burnt ashtray. So I don't know what the special process is, but I think it's time they change. Where this belongs, herbal dump again. Let's take a look at another. This is one of the top echinaceas on the market. It's unbelievable what it says on this wrapper that it comes in. It says a story about echinacea. It says that this is a very expressed juice of echinacea and that it's cultivated organically and there's very little alcohol. You even get a paper inside that tells you volumes about what it is. Let's take a taste of this and see what happens. I'm going to drop a little on your tongue. If you just tip back all the way for me. Well, it's sorry about on the chin, but hey, we're herbalists here. Sorry, Hillary. taste that. In fact, I'm even going to peel the top off this so we can get a great taste. I'm going to take the dropper right off. And
It's like alcohol.
let's take a
It
little
just tastes
sip.
like alcohol.
They don't want any more. I can't even force this down them. Okay, but give it a chance, because echinacea, the normal taste of echinacea is it should have a very strong tingling taste in your mouth. It should also be a little bit acrid in taste. This is some echinacea root here, and this isn't even that fresh. This was harvested last fall, and I'm just going to have them chew. Gotta hide that label. I'm going to have them chew a little piece of echinacea each, just a tiny piece. Now it takes a minute. Put the whole thing in your mouth, put some saliva on it, chew it, and suck on it, and just keep it in there for a few minutes, and I'm going to talk to them, and we'll see what kind of response you get. Is your mouth tingling from all the other echinaceas you've used so far? Nothing. This is what I feel. You know, I talked to people about this. One so-called herbal expert told me, well, the part of echinacea that makes your mouth tingle is called an isobutylamine. And they told me about, well, they use a different species of echinacea. The echinacea that most people have used is Echinacea angustifolia, but a lot of people in Europe have used Echinacea purpurea, which also works fine too. But they told me that the purpurea had a very low count of the isobutylamines, and that's what makes your mouth tingle. They told me it's just as effective on your immunity, but Echinacea doesn't make your mouth tingle. Bull. That's all I can say. I took a fresh Echinacea purpurea plant at home, threw it in my blender with a little water and alcohol, and in 2 minutes it made my entire mouth numb and tingly. I'm so tired of hearing all this high-tech manufacturing herbal crap. You can't believe the load of it. The bottom line, these people are lying to you. They're making products that won't get you well. Get some good echinacea. You can grow it in your garden. It's in the sunflower family. Looks like one, but has beautiful purple and violet petals on the flower. Get some seeds at your nursery, plant it around your house, and when your immune system needs a boost, dig it up and make it yourself. You can just make a decoction out of it. We're going to cover that in a minute. Let me check with Sandy and see how she's doing. How's your mouth now?
Well, I'm trying to keep my composure. It's like you want to go like your mouth is vibrating.
Yeah, it's really tingly,
it's
really
very
numb.
tingly. You feel like your tongue is curling
Absolutely.
up or something.
And
yeah.
you didn't taste any of this from the other products.
Absolutely nothing.
I know. It always amazes me. I can't believe the junk that's available out there. Again, herbal trash. Let's take a look at a few more herbs before we get into our preparation so I can show you the difference between some of the herbs and what you should be looking for. This is ginkgo biloba, a wonderful plant, and most of you have heard about this already. It's a gorgeous tree. It can be grown all over the world, and the leaves have a very distinct fan-like shape to them. Very beautiful plant. Now we're using a leaf now of a plant. Leaves are generally green. When you harvest any plant, you should harvest it when there's the most chemicals in the leaves at its peak potency. Usually, with a leaf, that should be when the leaf is matured right before the fall. And this is a gorgeous green leaf of ginkgo. Here's another one, and you can see the color. Now look at these leaves I bought in a health food store. These look like they were swept with a rake off the ground. These look like they were broomed up. They even look like they were burnt with a blowtorch. I mean, I don't know what's wrong, but look at this. This is junk. It's not going to help you. If you're buying leaves, leaves are green. Unless there's something very different or odd about the plant and you know it has a yellow leaf, leaves should be green and should look green. You can see the big difference here in the ginkgo. This is horrible, dried out, swept off the ground. Who knows what ginkgo? This is very gorgeous green color. Always look for the color when you buy herbs. Here's another example here. This is red clover. Red clover should be a bright purple. When it grows, it's a very nice, bright purple color. But at a certain time in the fall, when it's reached its peak, it turns brown very quick. Unfortunately, people that mass produce herbs and pick too many, they wait till it gets brown or it got too late, and then you end up with this dried up brown red clover that's not going to do you very much good. And look at the quality of this. Here's something. This isn't red clover. This is a blade of grass, dried grass here. Here's a stalk from another plant. This is just, you know, someone mowed their lawn and threw it in an herb bag. Take a look at this. You'll see the difference. These are gorgeous red clover heads, very bright purple. It's called red clover because it's supposed to be red. Okay, so when you buy your herbs, take a look at them and don't be afraid to call the place you bought them and say, I don't think this is very good. Now, many people are interested in cayenne pepper. People have asked me thousands of times over, where do I get cayenne pepper? Well, let's take a look at some cayenne pepper here. Many of you get material that looks like this. This is powdered cayenne peppers. Of course, these are actual little African bird peppers. When you buy your cayenne pepper in capsules, it's usually not an incredibly high grade. Cayenne pepper is rated by what are called heat units or Scoville units, and it can be anywhere from 0 to about the highest at 300,000. Now, most of the cayenne that you buy in capsules is about 40,000 Scoville units. Hotter, good cayenne can be up to 80,000, but it can get much higher than that. Cayenne, as you can see, can be various colors, except this cayenne is quite poor quality to be that dark. I think this has been burnt in the powdering process. This cayenne here that's orange and this that's yellowish is wonderful. Yellow and orange cayenne comes in many colors, but the yellow, orange, golden, and even red tend to be better than the real dark maroons. They're not very hot. These are African bird peppers. I wanted you to see them. Very small cayenne peppers, about 250,000 heat units or Scoville units. Very, very hot. But you know, you don't need any of this. Most of these herb powders that you would buy in capsules or find in a jar at the health food store are nowhere near as high in quality, fresh and potent as just good chili peppers that you can buy in the market. You know, many people think if they find it in the market, it's not the real cayenne pepper. Cayenne is just a common name for one type of hot pepper. They're officially called capsicum. That's the botanical name. And all hot peppers are species of capsicum. And here we have some various ones. Here are some jalapenos. These are grown in Mexico, warm climates of the country, but you can grow it anywhere, even in Canada. Peppers only take about 40 days to mature. You can buy the plants already growing in your nursery and have all types of chili peppers growing around your house, and they'll be better than anything you can buy. Jalapenos are about 70 to 90,000 heat units. These are some red jalapenos, and I must point out, all ripe peppers, or at least 99% of peppers, all turn red. Green peppers are unripe peppers. And here's a good example. This is a serrano chili pepper. This pepper is about 150,000 heat units, and you can see that as it's aging, it's turning orange, and this will eventually turn bright red, or at least it would have if it was allowed to stay on the vine longer. Peppers are only picked in their green state because in their green state they ship better, they're harder, and of course in their red state they go off much quicker, they go rotten, and they can be damaged because they're much softer. So everybody's selling unripe peppers. So if you buy them from the grocery store, at least let them sit around and mature a little bit, but grow your own peppers. It's wonderful. These gorgeous orange little peppers here are called habaneros. Habaneros are one of the hottest chili peppers in the world. These peppers rate between 250 and 300,000 heat units, and almost every grocery store in the country either carries these or the produce manager just asks them. Say that you want the hottest chili peppers that you can find, and anybody working in the produce area will order you hot peppers. I asked the man locally in this small town, and he told me that he would gladly order us 5, 10 pounds, whatever we want, and have them in with a day or two. So don't forget your fresh hot chilies, probably a lot better for you, certainly better for your heart and your circulation, loaded with more vitamin C than would be void out of this, and certainly a lot cheaper. Just buy hot chilies, grow them yourself. Now, a lot of other people ask, well, how do I use these chilies? It's easy. Of course, this can just be capsulated, or you can even spoon it into a glass with a little water and drink it down. It's a bit fiery, but you'll get used to it. You can also season your food with it, but it's best if you use it after you've cooked your food and season it at the end. It's better if you don't cook it. These peppers here have thousands of uses. Chop them up and just add them to your food. You can even add them to your cooking. You can add them to your salad. And a little later, we'll make an herbal tincture with some of these peppers. Sandy, Hillary, come on in. Let's try a few peppers. Just to show you, when you get a good pepper, don't ever think, well, my cayenne pepper might be a little old, it's not very good, because these here are 10 years old and still very powerful. During lunch, we had a lot of red faces around here for those who sampled them. Why don't we try just one of these little teeny tiny peppers. You can bite into it. See what you think. These are rated at about 250,000 heat units. These are African bird peppers. African bird peppers, and one of the hottest there is. Very, very hot. Yes. We got some good reactions. You can spit it out. Okay. Very hot. And these are from actually the summer of 1986. I just remembered. Summer 1986. These are 9-year-old African bird peppers. They last quite a long time. Can you taste anything, or your mouth's too hot?
It's too hot.
Okay, we'll leave the habaneros for later. Thank you, thank you. That's good volunteers. People ask me, how do I dry these peppers? Well, the best way is to chop these up, and then you can just put them on a piece of cotton cloth and let them dry in your kitchen. But generally, for any herb, if you go out and forage leaves or roots or whatever, what I do is just use cotton string. Go ahead and tie it on the handle of a cupboard or a door. String it up in your kitchen from one side to the other, or right across like this. And then on that cotton string, you can easily just take your herbs and clip them on with a clothespin. That's all I do. Gather your leaves, your roots, your berries, your peppers, whatever. String it up in your kitchen, clip it on with a clothespin, and they'll dry really nicely like that. Remember, just keep them out of the sunlight, because the sun can bleach the plants and also cause the chemical properties of the herbs that you want to be depleted. Here's a few more herbs I just thought I'd show you. Many people ask about black walnut hulls. These are dried black walnut hulls. Black walnut hulls should be black or very dark brown, and you can see what the material looks like inside. This is what we want. This is the strongest part of the walnut, not what the walnut shell is itself, and not the skin, but what is inside. This is very high in concentrated iodine. And here's some lobelia, another popular plant, but many people, when they buy lobelia, it just looks like ground up powder. Lobelia, the strongest part of the plant are the pods. These are the little, it's called lobelia inflata, because the seed pods actually inflate when they mature. And inside each one of these pods is a number of small little tiny seeds. So you can see, if you buy your lobelia, try to make sure that it has some pods on it. This is the best part. Hillary, Sandy, come on in here for a minute. I'd like you to taste one of these lobelia pods and just chew it up and swallow some of the saliva and tell me what it is you notice in a minute. Remember, in the manual, we give you numerous people that we think offer you the best quality herbs, but we wanted to show you a few so you know the difference between good and bad quality. What do we notice from that?
A very scratchy feeling on the back of the throat.
Yeah, you can feel it when you... And see, that's... How about you, Sam?
I feel like you're getting a sore throat.
Yes, absolutely.
And see... the roof of your, top of your roof, back of the roof of your mouth.
Yes, absolutely. Lobelia is very interesting in the way that it causes scratchy and itchiness on the back of your throat. It's one of the signatures of that plant. Now you know what it should be like. Make sure you get good quality lobelia. Now, let's make some herbal preparations, but just a few points before we begin. First, write down everything you do. It's so important to keep a record book. You can use just a spiral notebook like this. You can use it to keep your notes, but you have to record everything. What should you write down? Write down the date that you start the preparation and maybe the date that you finish it. Write down the herbs exactly as you used them and how much of one herb and how much of another. And also write down where you got these herbs. Did you buy them from an herb company? Did you pick them out of the backyard? Also, anything you use as a base, whether it be olive oil or beeswax or whatever, write it all down. There's two reasons for this. I've made some of the greatest herbal formulas that anybody's seen, but I don't remember how I made them and I've never been able to reproduce them. So if something's good, you'll be able to make it again, just like you'd have a recipe for a good meal. On the other hand, you'll make a few stinkers. I have. You'll make some rotten herbal formulas that you never want to reproduce, but you won't know what you did wrong unless you can go back through your book and look at the ingredients, and that's how you make adjustments. You know, many of what I think are my greatest herbal formulas are version 150 or version 200. Rarely when I first started did the first thing I make be the greatest, but it was usually always better than anything else you can buy. Secondly, make sure you label everything. Believe me, everything. You know, years ago, Dr. Christopher came home from a trip on the road, and he felt tired and weary. Sat down in his chair, and he asked his son for his favorite drink, which is apple cider vinegar and honey. He said, put in about 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. I really need a good boost. I'm quite weary. His son put in 3 tablespoons of the apple cider vinegar, a little honey, stirred it around, gave it to the doc, and in 10 minutes, the doc stood up and vomited all the way across the room like a fire hose. It wasn't apple cider vinegar, it was lobelia tincture, but no one had labeled it. Now, rarely do you have any problems with this, but I have one rule in my pharmacy. No label, and it gets thrown right in the trash. When you're dealing with your health and making herbal products, I want to see a label on every herb bag. I don't care if you think you know what it is. Put a label on it, even if you put tape on it and write on it. Label every product, every ingredient, label everything. Let's start talking about herbs that we use for nutrition. We expect so many changes to happen in our body, but unless we're getting the vitamins, the minerals, the enzymes, the amino acids into our bloodstream and to that area, it doesn't have the building blocks that it needs to get well. Herbs are our greatest source of nutrition. You know, there's so much crap out there in the health food store, the vitamins and the minerals, it's garbage. The minerals are ground up rocks and oyster shells. How are you supposed to assimilate that? And look at what some of the vitamins are made from. Vitamin B12, cyanocobalamin, most of that's made from activated sewage sludge. My God, who would want to put that in their mouth? We want to use herbs for not only medicine, but for nutrition, and it's the greatest way to start your day. Look at the rainbow you have here. This is what I have for my breakfast. Look at this, the purple of the beets, the deep purple of the dulse, the orange of the rose hips, and the various greens from the grasses. You know, the alfalfa, the barley, and the wheatgrass have almost every vitamin and mineral known. And if you're missing something, go to the seafoods, the spirulina algae and the chlorella algae. I suggest that you use alfalfa and barley and wheatgrass and chlorella and spirulina and rose hips and spinach powders and beet powders and mix this all together and make a morning drink. That's what we're going to do here, and this is the way to start your day. It's so simple. So many people say to me, I don't know how, and it takes so much time, and I'm not going to be able to do this. I mean, give me a break. Relax, breathe, use your common sense, your intuition. It's not tough at all. This is how I start my morning every morning. A couple spoons of this type of a mix in a blender. Everybody has a blender. You can buy a cheap one for $16 and it'll take you years to wreck it. It's very important measurement here, 8 ounces. Put a splash of some of your favorite juice in there. That's all you have to do. Put a little bit of water. I put 8 ounces of water and 8 ounces of juice, but you can easily use some cut-ups, apples, pears, any of your favorite fruits and juice. That's all you have to do. You put the top on, run the blender, there it is. Breakfast of champions. That's the way to start your day, with an herbal drink. Not with some toast or some eggs that are going to make you sick or take 5 or 6 hours to digest. You don't get the nutrition from that till 2 in the afternoon. You want an energy lift, you want to feel good in the morning. Put some herbs in the blender with some juices, put a little fruit in, make a drink. That's the way to start your day. Now let's make another type of drink to start the day. This is the liver gallbladder flush. At least once a season for a week, so 1 week every 3 or 4 months, you should start each morning with a cleansing drink instead of the nutritional drink. One of the greatest cleansing drinks is what we call the liver gallbladder flush. We've had thousands of readers ask us questions about this because we've talked about it so much in the newsletter. It's easy, it's simple to do. Don't overcomplicate things. This is the simplest, easiest drink. Let's make one now. I'll show you how. To begin with, in the spring and summer, you want to use a base of citrus juice. You can use oranges, you can use lemons, you can use limes. In the fall and winter, when apples are more seasonal, apple grape is a better choice of a juice to use. And you start with 8 ounces of that juice. It's really simple. Just cut your citrus in half. You don't need any expensive juicer. You just need one of these little things that you use some strength and exercise. Hey, it's a good workout for the beginning of the morning. Hillary, you want to give me a hand here and do some of the hard work? Here is some fruit. Actually, I'll cut that for you. You know, citrus is one of the greatest foods for the morning. It's a cleanser for the liver, the gallbladder, even the kidneys and bladder. And don't be afraid if you get organic citrus to throw a little bit of the peel in the blender also. The peels of citrus have essential oils that actually stimulate your liver and help your gallbladder produce more bile. A great way to start this morning. Okay, so just juice away there. Wow, this smells great. You should smell those oils.
Smells great.
It's incredible. Lemons, limes, oranges, grapefruits, tangerines. Use different combinations. Remember, we're not building a computer here. Just put citrus juice. Get about 8 ounces in here. We also will put in about 8 ounces of water just to water it down a little bit. Remember, juices are very concentrated. It's nice to water them down. There's a couple other great ingredients that we want to make sure we add. Garlic is a good start. Garlic is a disinfectant to the system. It's a broad-spectrum antibiotic. It's antiviral. It's antibacterial. No self-respecting bug, germ, or parasite will live in your body when you use garlic. Believe me. Everybody fools around with this. You gotta beat garlic up. Just hit it. Slam your hands on it. We want to get these cloves into the blender. People spend days trying to peel these darn things. Just squash it, punch it, and drop it in. No chopping, no grating, throw it in. We got our garlic. We got our water. Pour in your citrus juice. This is simple. This is easy. And remember, we want to put some ginger in too. Just take a piece of ginger, about that much. Chop it, grate it, skin it, forget it. Just drop it in the blender. You're going to do this every morning. You can make it in a minute. And the final ingredient, olive oil. Remember, 8 ounces of a citrus juice or apple grape combination, one or the other, 8 ounces of water, and distilled is the best. Start with 1 clove of garlic. Start with 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Okay, that looks like about a tablespoon to me. Put in a tablespoon of olive oil and a chunk of ginger about the size of from your thumb up to here. Just about an inch of ginger. Put it in the blender. Turn it on. You know, if you try to grate this and chop this and smash it up and put it in a glass, it's going to taste like there's an oil spill on top. But you put it in a blender and liquefy it like that for just a minute, and you got a wonderful morning drink. It tastes great. No one will have any objections to this. It's got a nice taste, and this is a liver flush, and this is the way to start your cleanse in the morning. It's wonderful. Ginger, the citrus oils. I can hardly taste any garlic or any oil. When you want to progress with this drink, add 2 cloves of garlic and 2 tablespoons of oil and take it up from there. Wait about 15 to 30 minutes and then you must drink 2 cups, about 16 ounces of a hot, digestive or detox herbal tea. It's very important because once your liver has flushed itself out in your gallbladder, this pushes it all through. If you experience any nausea on this when you get up to the higher levels of oil and garlic, just add more ginger and drink your digestive tea sooner. One of the greatest simple cleansing drinks that you can make in your home that I suggest everybody do periodically, but especially during a fast or anytime you're doing a seasonal cleanse, is called a potassium broth. Sometimes this is referred to as a potato peeling broth, but every natural healer for the last 200 years suggested making a mineral broth out of vegetables and vegetable peels, simmering it for a few hours, and drinking that broth to flush mucus, to flush toxins and waste out of your body. And let me show you my basic recipe to make a great potassium broth. First, start out with potatoes, but you know, with the potato, the majority of the minerals and the nutrients in the potato are right in the skin. And one of the reasons it's called a potato peeling broth is because we're just using the peel of the potato. So what we want to do is just peel the potatoes and put those peels into our broth. And we're going to use a large kettle, like this kettle over here, that we're going to put all our peelings in, and we're going to fill this up to the top. So remember, you just want to use the peels of the potato. You might use 20 or 30 potatoes to get enough peels, but 1/4 of the way up this pot, 1/4 of it is made from potato peelings. The second ingredients are carrots and beets. Another 1/4 of this pot, now we're filling it up to the halfway mark, is with carrots and beets. With the carrots, again, we're only using the peel because remember, a majority of the nutrients, especially the minerals, we're making a mineral broth here, are in the peels of this carrot, not in the center. So we want to put these carrot peels into our potassium broth. Carrots. Also beets. Beets are one of our richest mineral foods, especially in iron. And with beets, we use the whole beet. And even if you cut off a piece of the greens like this, go ahead and put that in. But with the beet, you're just cutting up and slicing up the entire beet to put into your potassium broth. We want to put the entire beet, not just the peel, into this potassium broth. So again, we have 1/4 potato peelings and another 1/4 the carrot peelings and the chopped beets. The third ingredient is greens. This is what's another 25% of this. Now these are some wonderful beet greens. Hey, so many people when they buy vegetables rip those greens off and throw them away, and you're throwing your vitamins and minerals in the trash. Use those greens, put them in your potassium broth. Also use some celery loaded with sodium, a wonderful, wonderful food. Use your celery, chop it up, put it up, break it up. Hey, this is simple. This is easy to do. You don't even need a knife for celery. You can just rip it up and put it in your potassium broth. Your greens and your celery, it can be spinach greens, collard, chard, your dark rich greens, even dandelion. Go ahead and put them right in your broth. For the last 25%, we want onions and garlic. And get the hottest onions you can get. These are the big white onions. These are sometimes the hottest onions you can get. Just peel them. You don't have to get it all off. Just take off the little outside skin. Chop this up fine. Put it in your potassium broth. And garlic, 5, 10 cloves. Make sure, and I mean whole bulbs actually. 30, 40, 100 cloves of garlic. Put it in your potassium broth. Let's get it in there. So the last 1/4 is onions and garlic. We also want to add something for a little flavor. Let's get some of these hot chilies in. Hey, we have them sitting around here. Just chop up a habanero. Careful, this will make your broth really hot. Look at how gorgeous that is. Get that in your potassium broth. And hey, there's a little leftover ginger. Let's get a piece of ginger, chop it up, toss it in your broth. You want to fill this pot to the top. The first quarter is potato peelings. The second quarter is carrot peelings and whole chopped beets. The third quarter is your greens, your celery, all your great greens. The fourth quarter is onions and garlic. Add a little chilies. Cover it with water. Let it simmer for 2 to 3 hours. You got a potassium broth. We have some finished broth over here that's already been strained. Look at how beautiful this is, the red color. This is from the beets, and you should taste the garlic and the onions and the chilies in this. It tastes great, and it feels great when you drink it. Let's talk about using herbs to clean and cleanse the eyes, the sinuses, the whole head. There's some great ones. They're so simple. Look at this, a white onion. People have come to me for years asking me, do you have anything for conjunctivitis? All conjunctivitis is inflammation of the eye, and it's due to a blocked tear duct. Do you know how to unblock that tear duct? Get in your kitchen and chop some onions. Do you know that just in the odor of onions alone, there's antibacterial properties? Chop some onions, eat some onions, you'll never ever have conjunctivitis again. A great clearer for the eyes and sinus. There's another wonderful herb, horseradish, and you can buy fresh horseradish root in almost every grocery store. And again, if it's not there, ask the produce person to get it for you or to order some. What we're going to make now is an herbal snuff. You know, for hundreds of years, herbalists have used powdered herbs and snuffed them up the nose to clear those sinuses. You know, over in England, they put drills up into the sinus cavities. Modern day doctors, drills up into the sinuses to clear and free those sinuses. And do you know, in this country, I've had patients that have had hypodermic needles thrust up their nose, jabbed into their sinuses, and cortisone injected. This is torture, and it's ridiculous. A few herbs powdered up and we'll clear those sinuses right out. This is what I call my herbal snuff, and there's only 4 ingredients to this herbal snuff. The base of it is 50% golden seal and 50% bayberry bark, and we're going to make some right here. Golden seal is a very bitter herb, but it's a wonderful herb for the throat, the eyes, and the sinuses. Golden seal is a very good antibacterial plant. Can someone hand me a spoon here? And we'll spoon this right out. I have some bayberry bark here that we're going to use next. Anybody can order these herbs and make it at home. Now I suggest we're going to be just about 1 spoon of golden seal. Then we're going to get our bayberry. Our bayberry bark is a mild to medium astringent. It will tighten up the sinuses and ease the congestion. What we're doing is we're making a 50-50 blend of the golden seal and the bayberry, and just shake it up in a canning jar. A canning jar, everybody has them. We have multiple canning jars here we're going to be using. This is just a very small one. Shake it up, that's all you do. And now we have a base of 50% golden seal and 50% bayberry. To that, you add some cayenne and garlic. But I say to taste just a little bit. And we're going to take some of this 180,000 Scoville unit cayenne, just put a pinch in. And I also have some wonderful garlic powder. Now, why do I say wonderful? Smell it. Oh, boy, it smells like fresh garlic. You know, so many powdered herbs are burnt and dehydrated and void of their oils. They just have nothing left in them. And we put a pinch of our garlic in there. That's all it takes. How do you know if you have enough? Shake it up and breathe it up your nose. Now I have some finished here. Hillary, Sandy, why don't you come on in here and we're going to try some things out. Actually, I'd like to have a little piece of horseradish root first. You got to be strong to be an herbalist. These horseradish roots here are wonderful. You know, just like the allicin in garlic, horseradish root is activated by chopping and cutting it up. I'm going to give you each a slice and just bite off a piece and chew that, and let's see what it tastes like and what you feel. A very powerful plant that we forget about. Inside the horseradish, there are 2 cells, a fiber cell and a liquid cell. And when you bite it and chew it and grate it, what do we got here? What am I missing? Wow.
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 I got a little lightheaded off that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Burns your tongue.
Yeah, Yeah, it's very strong.
Ooh,
and see, you can
right
smell
up through
this
your nose.
root, and you don't smell anything. But when you cut it and break those oil cells onto the fiber, it's a chain reaction, a chemical reaction that actually makes this volatile oil that you smell now and that really clears out your sinuses. The same with garlic. The allicin is produced by the action of the liquid cell on the fiber cell. So a lot of these herbs you got to chop up, and it creates the chemical. Now imagine if we chopped this, powdered this, and then shipped it somewhere. There'd be very little left of that vital energy, that vital force, those volatile oils. It wouldn't do this.
This goes right through your nose.
That's right through your nose. And we didn't even snort it.
I didn't start.
I have some snuff already made up here, and so let's try some. Could I ask you to take your glasses off, because if you sneeze, I don't want them to fly off. Just take a little bit of snuff. You can just put it anywhere on your hand. And what I want you to do, let me explain this first, is first you put one finger over one nostril, and then put it up to the other nostril and breathe in deeply like you're trying to take it all the way to your back. I don't want to see any you really got to drive the snuff. The higher it gets, the better it works. So let your breath out, hold that nose, and take it in deep. Hillary wants some more. Yes, a good herbal student here. Okay, let's go ahead and snuff that up into the sinuses. Good, good. Wow. And I'll give you some for the other side.
I feel it.
Yeah. Again, it's mainly the golden seal that disinfects the sinuses, the bayberry that astringes the whole area. Oh. Yes, makes you cough and choke a little bit.
It all went up.
Yeah. And then a little bit of cayenne and garlic. The garlic is the greatest disinfector. Nothing will live in there when that garlic's in there. No blowing yet. Just now breathe in again. And also the cayenne stimulates the blood flow up there to get rid of that infection. Makes your eyes tear, doesn't it? Opens up this whole area. This is one of the greatest things you can do. You'll never need those cold and sinus medications that can hurt your heart. This is the way to clean those sinuses out. I've never seen anybody that couldn't unblock their sinuses using this and other herbs for the sinuses. How are we doing?
It burns.
Yeah.
Especially on one side more than the other.
Yeah.
Does it mean that it might be clogged up?
Yeah,
more?
clogged up, a little infection. Hillary?
It's burning.
Yeah, good.
It just stays on the fire.
That's true, that's right. It cleans and disinfects. Again, you might say, isn't this a bit radical? I think the hypodermic needle into the head and the drill is a little more radical.